Hi there, Adrian here. I'm a mortgage broker based in Sydney. On this channel, we talk about all things finance, investment, and lending. In this video, we're going to discuss valuations, how to get them up, and I'll give you a scenario on what I've done with a customer in the past. So the customer that I had recently in the last week, they were with a Big Four bank. And I can use exact figures because I'm not talking about the client's name or talking about the actual property. So I'll just use the high level numbers. All right, so the client had a Big Four bank valuation sitting at $670,000. All right, they were with the Big Four bank, and the Big Four bank also didn't have a good interest-only rate on investment for variable. So the goals of the client was 1, to get the valuation up, 2, to target a mid-tier lender that had a good investment interest-only rate, and 3, cash out money up to 80% of whatever the valuation was for future investment purposes. So what we did initially was we found 2 or 3 banks that would do the large cash out. We found all those 3 banks had good variable IO, so interest only rates for investment. And then before we did any applications, we ordered valuations first. Now, out of the 3 companies, the banks, there was one particular bank that we wanted to target that had the best overall deal. So what we did was we ordered the valuations for the other 2 banks. So one was Suncorp and one was NAB, all right, because NAB has very good valuations. And then we waited for the valuations to come back. One of them came in at 670, one of them came in at 695. So then what we did was, once we had the 695 one, we handed it over to AMP, which was the target bank that had a very good cashback deal for refinance, plus a low rate, plus they did large cash out for investment purposes over 100,000. And then we handed them the valuation at 695, which was over the client's expectations. And then we ordered a valuation with AMP. Now, I guess the key thing to know is we're able to order 2 or 3 valuations, mainly because the client was willing to go with whichever bank had the higher one and the best overall deal. So all 3 banks had the chance for the client to have the client. So that's why we can order 2 or 3 valuations. Now, once we handed it over to AMP, they did a desktop valuation. Now, just to be clear, there are 3 types of valuations. One is for desktop, which is just done on a computer, normally done within 1 day. 2 is a curbside valuation, which is where the valuer books in and actually drives past the property, then does a report. Or 3 is a full valuation where they walk through the property. Now, some people call that actually a short val. And then if it's a more complex property, or there's something off with the property, sometimes banks ask for a full valuation, which is more in depth, which doesn't normally happen. All right, so we managed to get a desktop valuation with AMP, and we got the valuation up to $730,000. All right, so that is a $60,000 increase on what the initial Big Four bank had. All right, that's an extra 8 to 9% on the total cash out funds that the client can pull out now. And then 2, the actual amount that we pulled out was enough for an investment property. So we're not only doing a refinance, we're actually doing interest only investment pre-approval to buy another property, since the client has enough funds now. Now, using this careful process, we managed to get the valuation up. We did it in a very specific way. But just to be very clear, you can't just be throwing valuations around to 30 different banks, and just hoping one of them comes up. The client has to actually have an intention to use those banks. And if we do order too many valuations and not give banks business, they start blocking us from having access to valuations in their system up front. Okay, so just to be very clear, that's what we do. That's how we do it. And we got a great result for this client. We got the valuation up. We got the cashed out funds up. We're doing the lodgement of the application now, and the client will get access to about 8 to 9% extra cash than what they could get previously, plus get the interest rate down by about 0.6 to 0.7%, which is a great overall deal. All right, if you have any questions or if you like this kind of content, please leave me a like. Please share the content, leave me a comment and subscribe to the channel. You have a great day. All right, bye.